Hello and welcome to the round two edition of the tips and previews. So we're going to be going through the round and all the games, and I'm going to be giving my tips and my thoughts on each game. And let's get into it with the first game of the round. We have Hawthorn up against Sydney. So Sydney have lost Errol Gordon for 3 to 4 months with a pretty bad shoulder injury, and it's such a bad injury to happen to the Swans, especially with the momentum they had coming into the year and having a good start. It's really going to test the group and their midfield depth to really see if they can cover him for most of the year. And for the Hawks, coming off a big win against Essendon, they have all the momentum coming into this game. It's at the MCG as well, so I think a lot of people are going to back the Hawks. I will, but I do think the Swans can really shock the Hawks here. But we're gonna back in the Hawks, so we'll go with Hawthorn. I'm gonna say by 28. Next up, we have Adelaide and the Western Bulldogs. So both teams are off to a great start. The Crows got a really good win against Collingwood at the MCG in a really testy, fierce type of game. It was back and forth for the most part, but when the game got tough, the Crows really stood up and got the job done. The Bulldogs completely dismantled GWS. They looked phenomenal. They defended well, and they scored really heavy. And it's going to be a tough game to really judge. I think it can really go either way. I like the Crows in Adelaide. Home ground advantage. They're going to have a packed out stadium, 40,000 Crow supporters there. And I really think it's a big test for the Crows to really see where they're at this year. And I think they can get the job done. The Bulldogs have a lot of momentum and they're going to look to carry that into this game. And I think it's going to be a real 50-50 game to tip. But I'm going to side with the Crows because they're the home team. And next up, we have a pretty easy game to really tip. Gold Coast and Richmond. Gold Coast completely thrashed West Coast from the get go. I think Petrarca had about 3 goals in the first quarter, so for them, it's business as usual. But they get to have a game at the MCG, which they don't get many opportunities down there, so it'd be good for them. Obviously going to be a finals team this year, so to have that experience at the G. And the Tigers were solid against the Blues. Albeit their goal kicking was atrocious. They could have won that game quite easily, and they've got a lot of young guys coming through that are going to be potential stars in the years to come. Sam Lawler, Grill, and a few of those young fellas really looked good against the Blues. So it's going to be interesting to see which players really show up against the Suns, and who knows, maybe they can pinch a win. Next up, we have St Kilda and GWS. A must win for both clubs. St Kilda starting the season 0-2. A really shocking performance against Melbourne. Both games that they've lost, they could have easily have won. They were in the game for 4 quarters and just faded away. So for Ross Lyon, he's going to have a lot of pressure coming into this game because if they don't win this game, they're going to be 0-3. They've spent a lot of money to get the list that they have this year. So you're going to hope they turn it around. And for GWS, are they going to respond after that pathetic performance against the Western Bulldogs? Are they going to get the win? Are they going to show a lot of aggression from the get-go? I don't know where this game lands. I'm going to side with the Saints, but it could go either way. And then we have Melbourne versus Fremantle. I think this one's probably going to be an easy win for Fremantle. They looked really good in the first half against the Cats. Down in Perth as well, so Melbourne make the trip into state. They looked really good. Their game plan is kind of rejuvenated under Stephen King. A lot of fast ball movement, high scoring as well, 120 points, um, which is really good for the D's. And for Freo, it's interesting to see where they go here. Can they get their first win, or do they start 0-2? Longmire, he's under a lot of pressure this year as Freo coach. They've underachieved with him at the helm. So it's a must win for the Dockers and to get their season on track. I'm picking the Dockers, and they should win quite comfortably. And then we have Port Adelaide and Essendon. So both teams are struggling and will probably feature down the bottom end of the ladder this year. Port Adelaide with a shock loss to North Melbourne. They got absolutely pieced up by the Kangas, destroyed in every part of the ground, and they just couldn't kick a score. They had an ankle concern for Todd Marshall, who will hopefully be all right to play on Sunday. And Ollie Wines should be back in the team in no time. For the Bombers, it's a painful experience for the Bomber fans. You don't really know what you're going to get on a week to week basis. And they looked all right in the first quarter and a half against the Hawks, and then they just got destroyed through the middle, and it was game over from there. So I'm not really sure who's going to win this game, but I think with Port Adelaide being the home team, you've probably got to side with the power here. So I'm going to tip Port. I'm not sure by how much though, but I think they get it done. And now the interesting one for me here is North Melbourne making the trip to WA. They actually travel quite well to WA. They're coming off a really good performance, probably one of the best performances they've had in about a decade, the Kangas. So I'm going to back the Kangas in here. West Coast are going to look to see this as an opportunity to get their first win. But Kanga, they're going to win this game. I'm telling you right now, this is my round guaranteed. North Melbourne will win this game. So that is the matches for round two. Unfortunately, there's a couple teams with a bye. Brisbane, Collingwood, Carlton, Geelong all have a bye this week, unfortunately. So we don't get the full 9 games, but hopefully still a good round of footy. And let me know who you guys think and who's going to win this week in the comments. Is there any team that you're looking forward to watching? Is there any surprise wins you think that could happen? And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching this short little vid.